Why is this giving me a bar to move the... That's weird. It's giving me a bar to move it, but it's not moving. That is odd. Huh. Alright, well. That shouldn't affect you guys any. It was just my my OBS stuff. Where the chat's at, it gives me a bar to move the window over so it makes my stream display bigger, but it doesn't move even though the bar shows up that I can move it. Oh, well I can go, okay. It lets me go left to make it smaller, but not right. But I digress. Just give it, what are we at, 2.5? We'll give it a couple more minutes, see if anybody else wants to come in. Just doing a stream on Excel stuff this morning. Years ago, before all my heart stuff, I used to run a football pick'em, NFL pick'em pool, and I did college also for the bowl games, which I may try to revamp that one as well. I don't have this kind of image set for the college teams, but I do have helmets that I can use and or logos. Sorry, drinking coffee too. But anyway, I thought I would kind of get on here and show a little bit how to do it in case anybody wants to do it in their area. Certainly if you have any questions as we go, let me know. But yeah, I'm going to give it a couple, about another minute or so, minute and a half. I guess I need to develop a stream starting soon overlay, but I currently don't have one, so usually just hang out for a second, let people come in if they're going to. So this is just what it looks like, and so obviously these games haven't started. It's moved the completed game down to the end, and that will go back up as the game's complete, so the Monday night game will end up down here, and it will also end up with the proper points in the right spot, as you can see on week 1. So I'm not too worried about that. So also what it does is it tracks your players. And again, I'm redesigning this, so not everything is in place, but we'll try to show as much as we can on this stream today. And then you have envelopes, so this will light up with who gets paid for what place. And the place up here can be manipulated because it does not print. It prints it over there where it says second place. So you can manipulate this to be whatever place you're wanting to print the envelope for. And upon doing that, it will also populate the name, the record, and all that stuff, which I can show you by just popping a name in here. So we'll just do Philip Winter. Actually, let's just do Winter. So then if he was to pick some of these games, right, and basically what it's doing for the win is it's looking at each name he has, so I don't even have to put it there. I can put it over here, and it still counts it as a win because it finds it in this line. So that's what it's looking for. So if it finds those initials, then it gives you a win for that. Now when I enter them, however, they're going to line up with the games, so it will look more like this. So we'll say you got all these, and then he missed this one just because I know who they were playing. Philly, New Orleans. Now let's say he said New England here, so that's a loss. So he's took Cleveland for whatever reason there. And then we'll say you got, actually, who did they play? I've forgotten now. Ravens, so he probably would have took Baltimore there, so we'll say that. Alright, so this guy's 12-4. And then this, whatever points he put in, let's say he said 45. So his difference is 15. So if somebody tied him, it would look at that, and that would be the tiebreaker. So it says how much the payout will be. I do keep 50 cents per entry for ink and paper. So you can do that as you will if you decide to do it. And over here is the formulas and the number of entries, because that tells me how much I pay out, right? So this tells me how many spots I'm paying out. That tells me how much I'm keeping. And then that's the entry fee, which you can change the entry fee here, I believe. Let me make sure that's the case. It's updating in the background for the stuff. I try not to do anything. It doesn't, I mean, sometimes you can do things while it does that, but I try not to do it because I don't want it to be messed up. Alright, so I changed that, and that changes everything. So you can see over here it's 9. But actually what happens is, if I remember right, see how it's tied to this cell? So basically you can do that in the week. So if you wanted to change it by week, you could. You just come down to this cell here, and you put 10 in there. And then if you come back over, you can see it's updated here. But you can manipulate that however you want, tie it together and whatnot. And it kept $1 when I did 10 because it's doing a percentage. So when I made it 10, it actually kept $1 instead of, but you can change that to be a 0.5% and make it back to 50 cents. Sorry, I got the hiccups again. Why is it every time I stream I get the hiccups? Am I talking too much? Jeez. Alright, so let's just say I put another person in here, Sarah Paulson. I think that's a comedian, isn't it? So now you can see it went up to $9 for the first place because it's only going to pay 1 in 4. Did I make it? Or 5? I can't remember. So we'll just do A, B, C, D, E. Oh, did I make it 1 in 10? Wait, what? Something's not working right there. I'll have to look at that because it's supposed to break down more pay spots, which it didn't do. So I'll have to check those formulas and make sure that's right before I actually start doing it, you know, taking the sheets out and everything. Because it automatically updates everything for you. The wins, who's winning, how much they get. All you do is there'll be an entries form, which isn't currently accurate, so it errors out. I gotta fix that too, because I used to have it this way on the layout. So it's not gonna do that right now correctly. So let me go back over to week 1. And that. Alright, so I'll have to take a look at that and see why it's not breaking down, because that should, I'm pretty sure that should pay more than, did I do? Maybe I did more than that. Let me see. Oh, I did. Oh, okay, so that was only 9. So it is 1 in 10, but you can manipulate that to however you want over here with these formulas. So this is breaking down how much each spot gets that pays. And so right here it's saying that the other ones get 0, so that's why it's doing that. So it says first and second get 27 and 18, so if you come over here, these guys are all tied at 0 and 16, so it's breaking that 18 down to each one of them. And again, you could manipulate that to do more than one spot, so you could break that 18 down to do like, I don't know, 12 and 6, so you could pay 3 spots or whatever. Just depends on how you have the formulas set up, if you want to break it out further than that. And then the reason I did the pick sheet is because I didn't want somebody coming back to me saying, hey, you misspelled this. I actually got this one right. So I click a button that says what team they want by what they mark on the sheet that they turn in, right? And then I can just click a button and it adds that 2 or 3 digit abbreviation. So there's no misspelling of anything. Except maybe their name. Because you have to type that in. So if I pull that sheet back up. No, does it go? Yeah, I think it goes away because I do the stop thing. But let's try it again here. So we'll do. Oh, well, it actually loaded something that time. Well, if I could get those together, that'd be really close to how they're doing some of the college games when they do the graphics on TV. But I don't want it that way. I want it different. But anyway, I'll manipulate all that so it looks more like what the sheets look like. But you can see you do your total points here, you do your player name, and then you submit the entry, and it puts it all over here in the player spot for that whatever the active week is, and it goes through and does a check to see which week has not started. So it's looking for a Thursday night game with no score, or a first game of that week page with no score, and then it knows that's the active week. Unless they're actually, it's the Monday night game, the last game, it's looking for no score, because if it's technically started, is it looking at both? It might be looking at both to say, okay, this one is started, so Thursday night's going, but Monday night's not done, so this is the active week. It may be looking at both. I can't remember. It might just be looking at Monday, because then if week 1 Monday's done, it knows week 2 is the active week if Monday's not done. So it may be looking at it that way. I'd have to look and see. It's been a couple years since I've been messing with these, so I don't remember everything that's going on. I have to manipulate that once I'm ready to start looking at that stuff again. But to show you kind of what it's doing, if I come up to developer for one, I can do design mode, and then I can click on these things here. So you can see away 1 and home 1, and that's done all the way through the sheet, all the way to 16, right? So then if I come in here and I go to view code, when I activate the sheet or something is updated in the website and it recalculates the scores and everything, it will come into these codes and run through them depending on the situation. And then I make sure if I activate the sheet, then I know that's the active sheet. I don't have to do this week 1 check. But if I'm looking at a week and something updates in the background, I have to check and make sure that week is is equal to the active sheet, or don't run anything because I don't want it to error out since it can't find the images and everything. But if it gets through all that, then in both cases it will come over here and call the images weekly helmets, which is this one. So if I go into that, images, and then you have weekly helmets here, and then this one will do the team pages that are not right yet. But we'll look at them, but they won't load correctly yet. Hey, what's up, D? Just going through how to set up an NFL pick'em workbook if you're inclined to do so in your area. I haven't really touched mine for a few years, so I'm trying to get back into it. I might start doing it. So I got a lot of gamblers that I bowl with now, so. Back in Florida, usually only got like 15 to 20 people, maybe. I think my highest was 32 one time. So I'm hoping to be able to get more than that here, but we'll see. So when it calls the weekly helmets, it goes through this code here, and if I kick it off, it'll go through and do everything. So it assigns the helmet as 1, which is going to be the equivalent to what it's looking at on the sheet, which is helmet away 1 and home 1. So I want to make sure that I do all 16 games, right? So, and it's doing 2 at a time, the away and the home, so I only have to do 16 instead of 32. So it's going through and it's looking at the cells to make sure there's a game, right? So if there's not a game, it'll be blank. So it'll set the image to blank. So you don't want to assign a team player to one that's not uh, having a game, right? So you want it to be blank. Although I don't have that in week 1. So let me get this back over here so you can see the code. So it'll run through and it'll look at the team. In the background behind all this is where the code and the images and the words are. Fork knife, it's treating me like crap, dude. I'm playing like a total bot, man. I cannot hit a shot for some reason. Played with Zach last night. I think we got 1 win out of, I don't know, 8 games or something. I could not hit nothing, dude. So it'll come through and it'll look at this. So it's going to say away 1, and that's the name of this image here for the Cowboys. And it's going to pull off of this helmet's image form, which is, it's looking for dial A, away, which I could have done 1 image, but they were already set up with home and away, so I just made it both the same image, right? So if I come over here to helmets, and it used to be helmets is why it's called that, but now it's actual player model. So then if I find Dallas and I click on it and I do properties, then down here you can see it's DAL A, which is what it's looking for. So what it's going to do is it's going to take that picture because of the code. See, it's only grabbing the picture, and it's going to assign it to the picture property of that other image. So this image here on the sheet. So it'll make that image equal to what it's looking for on that other sheet. Download it again. Gonna give it an old college try for some reason. Yeah, it's I'm telling you, dude, the longer it's out, the better people are getting. Although it doesn't help that I can't hit a shot, but all right. So if you move on from there, it does the same thing for the home helmet. It's not blank, so it's going to come down here and grab what team it is. So it's Tampa Bay home. So same thing behind that. It's going to assign that home 1 picture to be the controls team picture for Tampa Bay home. And if we go back over to the helmets, you can see that they're, like I said before, they're both the same. It's updating in the background, so it's freaking out. Hang on a second. So there we go. So if we go back over to helmets, you can see the Tampa Bay home and the away are the same, so it doesn't really matter which one they're calling. So really I could have removed the call to the home and just changed the H to A again when assigning that, and it would have been fine. Or I could have went through and deleted half of the helmets and renamed them without the A or the H, and it would have been fine as well. But it comes over here and grabs this picture property. Let's see if I can move. That is not full. Okay, so you can see here there's a property of picture. And there's the same thing on the sheet images control. They're image controls. When you want to add these, you need to go to developer, and if you don't see that, you can go into file and options and then customize ribbon and then make sure that's checked, developer. And then that allows you to come up here and do design mode, and that allows you to insert an ActiveX image control, and then that image control being in developer mode allows you to grab that and rename it like I did. And then you can also right click and do properties, and you can rename it here if you'd rather do it that way. But then you can, this is where you can see that it has the picture property, so that you're assigning 1 picture property to that. So what it does is when I click up here, and this is done with a custom ribbon UI. I would have to find it. I can't remember the name of it. But eventually I can hide all this other stuff once the development is done, and it would only be these 3 choices here. But I digress. We'll get to that hopefully sometime. Let me know when you're on plans. We can suck together. I bowl tonight and Monday, um, so I don't know if I'll be on either of those 2 nights. And then I have the Diamond Cutters Wednesday and I bowl Thursday, so probably be nights other than those. I might be on after bowling on a night or two, but I can't guarantee that. Alright, so what it does when I come in here and I go to week 2, let's say, so it runs back through all that. Now you don't see scores yet except for the Thursday night game, and like I said, that will move up as other games are completed. So the Lions-Packers games will end up here, and their points will end up here as well, and that will change as the games move. Um, so it tells you what time the game is coming up. I may manipulate that to give the date also. I haven't really looked at that yet. I'm trying to get the basics back to working because I was doing a different layout before, so not all of them are the same layout. Now, what had happened, and I don't know how it happened, was last night or the night before. One of those 2 nights, I was in here working on it, and somehow the image controls got changed to from this image control that you insert, it got changed to this insert picture. So on the insert picture, or maybe it was a text box, I'm not sure what it made it, honestly, but it still had the same name. But when you went into it in the properties, it did not have the image. That's updating again. It did not have the image property or the picture property, so I kept getting an error and I couldn't figure out why for the longest time. Finally figured it out a little bit before streaming today. So for example, if I go to week 3, which I have not fixed yet, it will pop an error. So it says it can't get the object's property. So what it's doing is it's saying this ActiveX control does not exist, so therefore I cannot get this picture property. So I can't assign this to it. So what I have to do is, I'll go ahead and stop that. So what I have to do is on that sheet, I have to basically delete it. So delete. Why isn't it? Did I hit the wrong thing? Oh, hang on. I gotta unhide something. Not hide. So we'll do, is that week 3? So we'll do 3 money and 3 envelope. Alright, so then we can, actually let's go ahead and unhide 2 also because we're going to need that. So we'll delete 3. Alright, so then we'll come in here and we'll make sure developer design mode is on, because it will not copy the images if you do not. Actually, I don't want to do it that way. If you copy this and you paste it to a new sheet, it will not bring over the image names. What you have to do is right click it, move and copy, select the one you want it to be in front of, and then create copy. So that will create a second week 2. So what you do is rename it to your week 3, and then you want to do a control F and then go to the replace tab, and you want to say I want to replace week 2 with week 3. You hit replace all, and that will update all your stuff. Now it's not going to run the VBA because you're in design mode, so you got to come up here and unclick design mode. Then you can click off of that week and click back on, and it will update the pictures. It will not update the pictures for any reason if you are still in design mode, so be aware of that. Alright, so now that we deleted 2, what it did was it took the money and broke it. You can see there. And it broke the envelopes also because we deleted the sheet that it was referencing. Now we put it back, but Excel is not smart enough to know that we put it back and to rebind to it. So what we need to do is come over here and unhide week 2 money and envelopes. And then we'll take week 2 money, we'll copy it, we'll go to week 3 money and we'll paste it. And then we can do a control F here, replace week 2 with week 3. And you can see up at the top it now has the correct games. And it should, did I not make a reference for the, see that one's spaced correctly, did I not? Oh yeah, it's fine now. I don't know what happened there, that was weird. Maybe I was just scrolled to the right and didn't realize it. Alright, so then we have to do the envelopes. Now this one's a little bit different because it has pictures, because you have the text boxes here. So you want to paste special formulas here. And it also has a reference to money and not just week 2, right? So we want to replace week 2 with week 3. And then we want to come over here and do money 2 with money 3. Replace. And then you're all good to go. So now if we go to actually I was going to show you on week 1 also, because we populated some names, right? It's updating in the background, and like I said, I don't like to change too much when it's doing that because I don't want it to cause some kind of error that corrupts the workbook or something. So if I go back to money, we can see I populated all these names, right? So let's go ahead and copy this down a little bit, and then we'll just change it somewhat so these guys are different. Alright, so that one's different. Alright, so we're only paying 2 spots. So if we change one of these other ones, so we can say Pitt here, right? And that makes him 12 and 4. So he's now tied technically with the leader. So if his points were, let's say he did 55 points. So now he's first, right? So it flipped over here, first and second. Everybody else is 11 and 5, so they're tied for third. So they won't get any money, so we're not going to worry about them right now. But they would have their own individual stuff, right? So if we go over here, and I can manipulate this just by going up here and saying reduce. So you can manipulate whatever size you want for these if you don't like them big like that. It gives the record for what she had on her picks, and it gives the amount of difference on her points. I do not have it coded to do a disqualification if you're over. It does whoever's closest, whether it's over or under, doesn't care. So this is what would print out on your money envelopes if you were going to print to give, put the money in the envelope and take it to wherever you got to take it or whatever. You don't have to use this if you don't want to, but it's there if you so desire. And then you can reduce whatever you want, whatever size you like, so you could make it whatever. And then if you wanted to do, obviously, second place, you do that, and it would flip to that person. So it gives them what place they got, how much they won, what their record was. so you can print each of your envelopes easily if you want to. If you're going to mail it out, you probably wouldn't need that unless you wanted to put it on a piece of paper and put it in the envelope with the money or whatever, however you wanted to do it. So let's see what else. So I do have the team images up here with the helmets. So you could. So what it does is when you click a helmet, it's not going to work because the images and stuff are not set up right yet to where it's looking for the information. So we're going to end that. So what it does is it's only using one sheet for team info, right? And it goes and pulls everything based on what team you pick. So it's not separate sheets for this piece. If I do team, and let's say I do Chicago, well, it's not going to do it because it did the names, but it's not going to do the pictures because of the errors. But you can see it updated the name of the Bears, and then it updated the conference division teams, and then it updated the schedule, um, which I also have to add week 18 in here, as that's not done yet. But it's going to keep track of how many wins they got, whether they won or lost on the road, etc., etc. So anybody that's a kind of a stats junkie would. This doesn't really help for the pick 'em part, but it's anybody who likes numbers, then this would be kind of cool to them probably. So you have that piece as well, even though you don't really use it. You don't have to use it. You may never click on it at all, ever, if you don't want to. But it has all the teams in there if you wanted to see them individually. And then it also will populate the playoffs if they get into the playoffs. And then I also may add a Super Bowl squares into this same workbook, possibly. I haven't decided yet. I did that 1 or 2 years and then I quit doing it. But I did it separate from this workbook. So, and then again, you have the entry form, which will be updated to coincide with what we're doing with the weeks. So I'm only through week 4 fixing it, so that if I go to week 5, you can see it's the old, I think week 4 is too. It's the old format that I was using, and that's one of the reasons that the images aren't updating, because it's Rams and Seahawks and you got Buccaneers and Bears. So this is images from the old schedule. 2017 I think was the last time I did it, somewhere in there. But this is the images I was using when I did it then. I don't think I ever finished it, so I don't think I ever ran it that year, but that was kind of the concept I was going with that season. But never, I don't think I ever launched it. But again, we're changing it to look like this. I'm still debating. I may at some point, if I can figure out a way to do it in the sheet, I may add the actual team logo behind the player, like in the cell, but I haven't decided about that yet. But that's how you do it. It's fairly. I mean, if you know VBA to an extent, it's pretty easy. And here's the entry workbook that I'll have to manipulate to get it fixed. And I really put in the matchup 5, which gets changed just to help me understand where I'm at when I'm tying it to the worksheet to get the data. It's not really, I mean, you don't have to do it if you don't need it, but I just did it because I need it. So we got weekly info. So this is where the ribbon calls to pull up the week that you're wanting to go to, or the team that you're wanting to go look at, or whatever. Actually, this might be the team. Yeah, this is the team here. So team info is the team you want to look at, and weekly info is the week you want to view. And then forms is just when I want to do the weekly picks, it pops up that control, which is this one. That form, I should say. So I hope that's interesting to you guys. I'm probably going to move this over to um, YouTube just so people have a reference to it, because my my VODs on Twitch only stay about 2 weeks and then they get deleted. So, and if I go into properties, actually if I double click, I should say, then it gives me all the user form code in the background that's needed. So it's flipping through here the weeks to find out which week is active so that it knows which week to load. And then down here is where it loads it, which I'll have to manipulate this to pull in the correct data because this is the old cells that it's looking at for the values. So I'll have to update all that. But let's see if we can do one here just to show you what we're doing. And you can do this without having the tabs already there. I only have them there because I'm redesigning an old workbook. But if you started from scratch, you would just copy each one of these three and then do your find and replaces to get them to the proper week that you need. So if I go to, let's go ahead and do design mode again. I'm going to go ahead and unhide week 4 and then unhide money 4 and then unhide envelope 4. Alright, so let me probably go through and shrink all these. I think they're just a hair big. And I'm not replacing these when I'm doing the copies, so these are the same ones that will be there. But I'll do all that later. So what I need to do is I need to delete this one. Alright, and then as we discussed, that breaks my money and my envelopes. And I'm not sure where it's looking at now, but we'll fix all that. And then I'll come over to week 3. I'll do a move or copy. I want it to be in front of money 4 and then create a copy. So there it is. And then I am going to wait for it to update in the background and then we'll move on from there. I'm drinking coffee too, so. Alright, so we'll rename this to week 4. And then we'll do Control F, replace. I want to do week 3 with week 4. And basically what that does is it updates these back to week 4 web so that it's looking at the hidden sheet that updates in the background. Let me show you that actually because I don't think I did earlier. So if I scroll through the hidden sheets, we'll find the web sheets. So if I go to 4, you can see here it's pulling everything from the web, and then it's giving me a game number and then the teams that are involved, initials based on whatever their mascot is in the site. So if I right click this and I edit the query, this is the website that it's pulling from, which is called Flea Flicker. Now you can pull from whatever website you want to get the data from, but that's going to change probably these formulas here to make sure that you're seeing the right team. Because some of them use, Tampa Bay, some of them use the full name, some of them use the abbreviations already. It just depends on what the site setup is on what you need over here. Alright, so there's that piece. So we'll hide that again. We'll come back over here. So we're in developer mode, so none of these pictures are going to update yet. So we're going to go over to money 4. Actually, money 3, sorry. And then we're going to copy that whole page. There's no images on this page, so you don't have to worry about how you paste it. So we're just going to paste it normal. Then we're going to do a control F here. We're going to do replace 3 with 4 all. So now you can see the games went back to being at up here. If there is no score in the game, it will say what the game is. So Jacks at Cincy, Giants at Saints, so on and so forth. Once they have a score, it will display whoever is winning initials, or it will say tie. If it says tie, the win-loss will ignore it because it will not find that team's pick name in that row, so it will not count it at all as a game. So you could have, because everybody's getting the tie if it's a tie, right? Nobody wins or loses that. So it's just ignored in the records. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Alright, so then we go to the envelopes, we copy. Now this one has the text boxes, so we're going to paste special here. So paste special, and I want formulas. So you can see that went away. So then we're going to do find and replace. So we do week 3 because there's some of that on here, and then we want to, well, this here is actually, you could type that in if you wanted to, but you could do this since you're already here too, either way. And then we want to replace money 3 with money 4 so that it's looking at the right money sheet. And now our name's gone, so that's corrected. So we can come back over here to 3, and if we go back up here and take off the designer mode, then we can come over and pick week 4, and it'll update the images. So hopefully you guys are finding that somewhat interesting anyway, even if you don't ever use it. Could be good knowledge at some point. So it doesn't look like we have too many people in here. Does anybody have a question on any of this? Or anything else for that matter? It doesn't have to be about this per se. As Dwayne and I were already talking about Fortnite, right? How long or how far into this are we? 45 minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and do another one. We'll look at trying to be like right around an hour or so here. So what I want to do is come back in here. I want to unhide week 5 stuff, right? Because I already did 4. So week 5. That's going to error out because of the current format. Unhide money 5. Unhide envelope 5. And I think I'm going to try to do this as I go through just because. I have to touch them all anyway. I might as well fix them now, right, as I go through. Now, if you had a longer name here, you could reduce that again. And I think there might be, can I do a, there might be an option to do, oh, it's updating again. It updates, it's set right now to update every 5 minutes. You can change that in the web page. Actually, let me show you that. So if you unhide week 5, let's say, web, then you right click here and you go to data range properties. You can update every 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is you want to do. Make sure you do overwrite existing cells with new data and clear unused cells so you don't get any duplicate information messing up your lookups. And then one other thing I wanted to mention too while I'm thinking about it, and let me go to week 4 here. When you look up, this is to look up the, actually that's calling the other one. Well, where is it? Alright, that's to get the name. That's to get the name. That's to get the score, right? So, I'll have to research that because I thought that I did. Oh, okay. It's looking up. So what it's doing here is it's looking up the max. It's looking up the max number of where it finds this team at. So let me unhide one here. So when you scroll down, you see these. So it's looking. So it's finding Dallas, right? It's coming over here and it's looking at this whole row and it's saying, give me the max number there. Well, the max number is going to be the total. So it's going to pull their actual score. I used to do it to where it pulled this whole line and summed it and then divided by 2, which would give me that also because these would equal that. But because if you have an overtime, see right here, it adds, so you could do it either way. It's still going to be divided by 2 and it'll give you the right score. But all I did was, okay, look up the line and then whatever that row is, give me that max number that's in that row, which is this. So it gives me the score. So you have some options there of how you want to do it. But again, the way I did it was looking up the max number in that row of where it finds that team. So F2, it's looking for F2, which is hidden behind here, but it says CIN. So when it comes over, it's looking in this column for the abbreviation. And then wherever that row is, it goes over and gets the max number from E to O. And then your total is somewhere in here. So it pulls the score for that team. So I hope that's helpful. So let me rehide that. And I wanted to reduce that as well. Oh no, I already did. Okay. I might reduce those more. We'll see. Alright, so if I go back over to 5, this is still not right. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and delete that. So delete. And then again, you can see it breaks the other stuff because it's, well, actually this is going to week 1 now, so I'm not sure how that works, but okay. So we have to go ahead and create 5 again. So we'll come over here and move our copy. Go to 5 money because we want it to be in front of that. It doesn't really matter. It will show either way. But for the way the tabs are set up, we'd prefer it to be in front of those other two. So that's where it goes. Rename it back to week 5. And then just do a replace week 4 with week 5. Replace all. Oh, that's updating in the background. Hang on a second. Alright, so it made the updates. Alright, so we are not in design mode, so if we click off of this and come back, it should update the images, and it does. And now we have to go fix the money. So again, there's no images on this sheet, so we can just copy and paste it. And then we can do a replace. Week 4 with week 5. Now we didn't have to update that because we did it on this sheet, so it was already there. It's already populated. So we just had to replace all. Alright, and then we go over to envelopes. And we have images here with the text boxes, so we want to paste special formulas. And then we want to go ahead and replace with week 5. And then on this sheet, it's referencing money also, so we have to do money 4 to money 5 also. And then week 5's fixed. So if you go to week 1, you have all the stuff there. If you go to week 2, you have the upcoming games this week. Well, Thursday's already done, right? So it's down here. Again, this will move up as more games are completed, and the Lions and Packers will end up down here, and so will their total points. And then that will be reflected over here as well. You can see Washington's already down here, and that will come left as the game's complete, and eventually it will be here. Again, when you do your picks, it does not care where that Washington is. It's just looking to see if that person picked it, and if they did, it just wants to know it's in that row so that it's a winner. So if I put that in there and then I put somebody's name, we'll just do Sarah Paulson again. See, it knows that that's a win because it matched Washington over here. So it doesn't matter where you put it at. As long as it sees it in that key, it will count it as a win. However, once the games are done, you should see those line up again, because when you enter the picks, they'll be the way they started out. They won't have rotated at all. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. And then again, if we go to week 3, there's no errors now. And then week 4, and then with week 5 should be good, and it is. So now if we go to week 6, we should get the errors because it's not the right format. So hopefully everybody understands. If they are interested in trying to do this on their own for their area. It helps if you're into something that you're around a crowd for. Like I bowl a lot, so I'm around bowling crowds, and a lot of them are gamblers, believe me. I believe, if I remember right, go back to a week that's working here. And I'll go through the rest of the weeks and fix all this stuff. And fix the team page as well. Again, the team page is just one page. It changes depending on what team you pick and just updates the pictures for that team. These weeks, obviously, they don't do that. Although I could do it that way, but if I did it that way, I wouldn't have, well, I would still have the reference, I guess, to the schedule because of the web pages. So technically you could do it the same way for the weeks, but I like to have it historically. So I have those separate. So like if I unhide the team info, so you can see all these have weeks, like they have their own stuff. Again, you can manipulate that to do it the same way the team pages do, which is just one sheet, and it just updates for whatever team you pick. So you can do it the same way and update for just the one week that you're looking at. But I did not set it up that way. So you can see the team info is just one sheet, and based on what you pick, it updates for that one team. Once I get the errors fixed, it will anyway. Which once I get it done, I may do another stream just to show everybody what it looks like when it's fully functional. And then maybe if anybody has other questions about it, it would be easier to answer once everything's working. So we're actually getting close to the hour mark. I think we're gonna probably wrap it up here in just a couple minutes, unless somebody has a question. Although it looks like people have been in and out, so that's pretty much all there is to it. If I move these, so let me do that just to show you. So if I hit design mode, I can grab these images and I can move them. So behind it, you can see that the initials are there, and this is where the scores will be. So then if I put these back and I go to week 1, that already has the scores in, I can do the same thing. Now, if I have designer mode on and I pick one of these weeks and it changes the page, it will undo the design mode, so keep that in mind if you can't grab the images or whatever. Because in design, when you're in design mode, it will not automatically run code. But if you come up here and pick one of these tabs and select a week or a team or whatever, it will undo the design mode. You have to go in and click it again before you can grab these. So if I grab these two and I move them out of the way, you can see it has the initials and the score, which the initials are going to be used on the money because that's what it's looking for the winner and loser. And then in these boxes, it's just a lookup on the name sheet to pull the mascot of whatever team it is. So I hope that makes sense as well. If not, feel free to ask me any questions you want. So when you pull these back up, it's very, like, you don't want to freehand try to line these up, right? So if you hold Alt, it will snap to the edges, so you can do that. Now what I did when I first got this lined up was I went up one, and then I held Alt and grabbed that center dot and pulled down, and that makes the top border more accurate. If you don't do that, it makes it kind of thin, so keep that in mind as well. And then I will continue to do all of the weeks. Again, I'm still contemplating whether I want to put the date in here or not before the game starts. I think I probably do, but I have to look at the web sheets and see if that's even something that I can do off of those. Again, that's going to come down to the site you use to pull in your data from. Be careful when you're doing that. Some sites don't do live score updates, which wouldn't affect you as far as your pick 'em pool goes, but you wouldn't be able, like, I can set this up and then on another screen I can watch a live stream of the game, right? And then I can see the updates on all of the games, but I could watch, say, Red Zone on my other screen. And then I can watch these scores update live even before Red Zone shows the touchdown or from another game or something. So it's kind of neat to do that a little bit some days if you have the time. Being that I bowl Sunday nights now, I may not be able to do that so much, but I digress. We are coming up at the hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and end it there. I hope this was helpful, and reach out to me with any questions if you have any, and we'll see if we can't get those taken care of. Again, this is going to be on YouTube as a VOD. If you want to watch it later, or bookmark it so you can watch it further down the road than the 2 weeks that Twitch would have it on, feel free to do so, and also comment there if you need to, or ask any questions. I will certainly try to get them answered if I don't know the answer. And we're going to wrap it up there, and we'll see you next time. Peace.